Welcome back, everybody. It's time for another Talking with Topher. This is episode 333. It is August 20th, 2026. Let's get into it. What's happening, everybody? I just want to start off the way I always do by saying thank you. Thank you to all of my subscribers. You're the reason I keep coming back week after week. If you're new, remember to subscribe. All right, very important. Smash that subscribe button. I greatly appreciate it. If you want an opportunity to tell your story or be a guest on the podcast, TALKIN with Topher at gmail.com. It's the official email of the podcast, so send an audio, video, or type it out. Linktree link is in the description below the video. It's the easiest way to find everything TWT. So go ahead and click that link, and don't forget to check out all of the links that are in the description below the video so that you can do your own research. And that's the housekeeping, everybody. All right, let's get this thing moving and let's get into it. I'm going to start out right here, right now, with the simple fact that the Bible is true. The Bible is true, the stories are real, and that is our truth. That's where I'm starting today. Check this out.
Archaeological evidence confirms the Bible once again. We had Noah's Ark in Turkey. CIA documents found the Ark of the Covenant. AI verified the Shroud of Turin, and now this. In a remote corner of the Dead Sea, something buried for thousands of years is rearing its head, and it's low-key shocking the world. Once dismissed by skeptics as a myth, now standing tall as a pillar of salt are the remnants of the haunting biblical tale of Lot's wife. And the proof that this is the actual pillar from the book of Genesis is slowly becoming undeniable. Now, to the casual, uninformed observer, this column of salt might seem kinda unimpressive, a peculiar geological formation at best. To really understand the significance of what was discovered here, you kinda need to know the story behind it.
And I'll tell you the story real quick. Look, Jesus told Moses, I'm going to burn this place to the ground. It's full of sin. It's evil. And I'm picking you and a selected few of your family. And I think there was like a cousin or something. And you can all leave. You can leave right now. And they were like, oh, okay. And he's like, I've only got one rule for you guys. One rule. You know, he's always got the one rule, doesn't he? Don't eat the apple. It's my only rule. Well, don't turn around. That's my only rule. Do not turn around and look at what's happening behind you. The wife turns around and she is turned into the pillar of salt, everybody. They tested the salt. It has human DNA in it. How does a pillar of rock or whatever have you that's there, right? They say it is a pillar of salt. But it looks like rock, and then they scan it or look at it, and it's got human DNA in it, okay? So you go ahead and now tell me that the Bible is lying, it's full of just fictitious stories, and science is truth, right? Nope, not happening. This is wild, everybody. Let me see if I can get right over to it. Let's bring it back in. Hold on.
To dismiss as just a mildly interesting geological formation, but further scans revealed internal cavities in the pillar with traces of carbonized organic material, something that had once been alive. Also embedded in the salt near the torso were threads of mineralized fabric sealed beneath crystallized layers. Close. Radiocarbon dating of nearby sediment placed the surrounding ash layer at roughly 3,700 years old, exactly the time window scholars associate with the destruction of Sodom. The lab from Jerusalem also confirmed that within the salt pillar were traces of fossilized collagen, a protein only found in organic tissue, which was also verified by multiple other independent labs. And the only way anything like that could have been preserved in a shape like this is through an event that involved extreme heat and a flash explosion. All evidence that highly supports this claim. Naturally, there is a lot of skepticism around this, with geologists claiming that salt formations like these are actually quite common, despite there being none other of this nature in the region. Also noting that it's about 20 meters high, much too tall for a woman, and for all we know, Lot's wife wasn't a giant. But then again, the story does say she was turned into a pillar of salt, not a statue of salt. It could very well be the case that the formed pillar was much taller than her encased in it, with the researchers behind this find even quoted as saying, "We found something that matches the story more closely than we thought was possible.
Very, very crazy, huh? Wow. Wow. I mean, think about it. If she was turned into a pillar of salt and the pillar of salt surrounded her, then obviously the pillar of salt would be taller. Now, what is 20 meters in feet? Because I don't know. Wow, he really wanted to make sure she was not getting out of that, huh? Really encased her. 65 feet. Interesting. But again, I'm doing it, everybody. The Bible is real. It's real. The stories are real, and the giants are real. The way that the world was, it's not stories, and that's what I'm sticking with, because I don't believe there's any possible way that this is all just made up over time and falsified. And I am on the, I believe that everything that is here today that people acquired, like the Egyptians, the Mayans, and everything else, all of that, they found it, they utilized it, and then they carved on it. But they did not build any of it. That stuff was all there and all here before them and us. And that, I think, is I think that's closer to the truth than anything else today. I really do. Now, this next one here, Catholic Christianity is the only religion the devil did not create. Hey, let me cook, everybody, because we're going to have some fun today, all right? But check this out.
And I knew that Christianity was the truth because that's the only religion that the occult's afraid of.
Okay, you gotta say it again, man.
That's the only religion that the occult, these Luciferians, that's the only religion they're afraid of. Because that's the only one that has power. The devil is not afraid of Buddha. The devil's not afraid of Muhammad. He's not afraid of Krishna. It's a false religion, bro. So why would the devil be afraid of something that he created?
Oh my gosh.
The gospel is the only thing that the devil couldn't create. Look at it. We just saw recently with Hollywood, they had cast like a lesbian black woman to play Jesus Christ.
Yes.
They don't do that with Islam. They don't do that with...
Never.
Never. Why? Because there's no weight in those religions. There's no weight in the spirit. Like, we see time and time again that Christianity is the only thing that's mocked. They won't even report about Christian persecution. 70 Christians get beheaded in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and where's the news media at? The only major outlet I saw report it was Fox News, and that was like 5 days after the story had already gotten really big. But guarantee, if there was an Islamophobic attack or an anti-Semitic attack, it would be all over the news.
Come on.
All over. But if it's an attack on Christianity, they don't want to talk about it. Why? Because they don't want to bring awareness to it, because that's what they're trying to do. They want Christians to get attacked. They want to exterminate the gospel.
Come on.
These principalities and these demonic rulers, they can only gain territory in the spirit when there are less true Holy Spirit-filled believers. Bro, God gave us the power to hold it down.
Come on.
So they will try to not shed light on these things because God gave us authority to push weight in the spiritual realm.
100%. This is a war on Christianity, everybody. I don't know if you're keeping up with it, but there has been Christian churches and massive slaughtering of Christians around the world right now. And no one is talking about it. And he's right. He's absolutely right. Nobody else gets mocked. They don't do a giant stage with any other religious figure anywhere. But Christianity is always mocked, and Jesus is always mocked. And it makes so much more sense now that that's because the devil is actually afraid of Christianity because he didn't create it. Therefore, it's the only power against him. Which is why I'm so thankful I am drenched in Jesus' blood. Because he protects me and my family always, all my friends. And as long as we are always covered in his blood, we will always be protected from the devil. The devil cannot penetrate Jesus' blood. The devil, Satan, whatever demonic name you want to give him, is powerless against Christianity. and the belief in God. I'm telling you right now, it's more powerful than anything in the world. I really do believe this because it seems to be becoming more and more true. Why would they be trying to wipe it out? Why are they quietly erasing churches and Christian villages and beheading 70 Christians? Why are they doing this? And no one's talking about it. Why is it okay? It's not okay. It needs to be talked about. And that's what we're doing here today. All right. Well, since I've gone on long enough about God and Christianity and all the other things that I love getting into right now because it's more real than anything we've ever been told. I'm telling you right now, the truth is in the Bible. But what I really want to focus on is the psy-op of the flock cameras and the actual Axon cameras that they are going to implement everywhere. Guess who's got their wonderful hands in all of this mess? That's right. Friends of the show, everybody. BlackRock. Listen to this.
The dots. Turns out BlackRock is now putting cameras in streetlights. Sounds like science fiction, but only because you haven't seen this.
I'm also excited to announce that we are working with another industry leader, Ubiquia, to turn streetlights into smart ALPR and live streaming cameras. Without having to add a single pole in the ground, this partnership accelerates deployments and turns existing infrastructure into intelligent, interconnected tools for public safety.
That's the CEO of Axon, and it's now one of the hottest companies in the surveillance market.
Introducing Axon Outpost. This is not just another ALPR camera, it's two cameras in one. So just like Fleet, you have one camera optimized for license plate reading and the other for live video streaming with a wider field of view. Outpost runs edge-based vehicle signature AI, meaning it doesn't just capture plates, it recognizes vehicle make, model, color, visible damage, and even unique features like bumper stickers or roof racks. And it can be deployed anywhere with a flexible power source, including solar or wired power.
Counties are terminating their flock contracts and spending tens of millions of dollars to install Axon systems. And here's what they really don't want you to know about. 25% of Axon is owned by BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. You know, the same people who have openly said things like this.
We're going to have to change, and this is one thing we're asking companies. You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock we are forcing behaviors. You know, what we are doing internally is if you don't achieve these levels of impact, your compensation could be impacted, okay?
We're doing the same thing.
And so it's just, you have to force behaviors. And if you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted. And that's not just not recruiting.
And what he's talking about is he's talking about financially impacted if you don't force compliance onto us.
It is development, as Ken said.
And to make matters worse, Axon CEO Rick Smith also sees himself as a hero.
At Axon, we stand at this unique intersection. We operate the largest connected camera network of public safety cameras and sensors in the world. Our mission extends beyond just transparency and accountability after events. We now have the potential to proactively safeguard society, promptly dispatching assistance and actively deterring violence. Our goal isn't to build a society defined by surveillance or incarceration, but frankly, one where violence and crime rarely occur because they just don't make sense anymore.
I'm sure the $164 million he made in a single year has nothing to do with this motivation.
Yeah, software and services up almost 40% year over year. So it's really going great. We're in this amazing position to take advantage of the AI era because we have, over 1 million users out there that are using our body cameras, in-car cameras. We have eyes and ears out in the field, and we can listen and see what's happening and then apply AI to it. It's the business is really on fire.
Here's the scary truth, folks. While people were busy taking down flock cameras, they were already rolling out the replacement. And these new cameras are designed to be more stealthy, harder to detect. You're likely not even going to know you're being recorded. So the next time you see news about flock going down, just keep in mind it might be a distraction.
And that's exactly what it all has been. It's been a distraction, everybody. Everything is a distraction. It's to ruin what we know and what we have. That's what it's for. They're dividing, they're distracting, they're loading us up with all kinds of stupid shit on social media, and they're doing it all on purpose because it fires you up, it gets you mad at me, it gets me mad at you. It's the way that they want it, everybody. Distract, divide, control. Super simple. Super, super simple. But these things, I knew it. I have seen a few videos that have come out now. James Lee talked about this. But this is what's happening. This is how they do this shit, everybody. This is how they do it. What happens is they know that they're not going to be able to get what they want, so there's always a fall guy. And I don't remember what episode I said it in, but they are going to implement something for the fall guy. And it turns out to be Axon. And then you want to really friggin' take a look at something else here? This is going on in Manchester, New Hampshire, everybody. The new white dome-shaped cameras now in place at several busy Manchester intersections use sensors and artificial intelligence to detect vehicles and pedestrians. Story link in the bio. New traffic light tech installed at 22 Manchester, New Hampshire intersections, everybody. We are talking about Maple Street. We are talking about Beach Street, Valley Street, Lake Ave, Bridge Street. And I'm not seeing anything on Elm, but look at Bridge. I forget what road that is right there. You got Lake Ave, and I mean Beach and Maple, dude. I don't know how often you are driving in Manchester, New Hampshire, but Maple Street is definitely like a main road that everybody is on. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on Maple Street. And on Beach Street, they're showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they got 9 on each street, stretching all the way from Bridge Street down to even past Silly Road. So that is, I'd have to say, a good couple miles. Let's just say a couple miles because my brain's not working so good right now. I can't figure that out. But this is insane, everybody. This is insane. Look at that. I'll just show it one more time. I'm not shocked about this. This is the way they want it. This is how they're keeping it. This is going to happen. And I don't care what they say, everybody. This is not for our safety. This is not for our safety. This is for the compliance, the forced compliance that they keep talking about, and the simple fact that they want full control over us. They want compliance from us. They don't care. It's never for our safety. Half of the shit that's going down today is because of them. Because of their pharmaceutical drugs and the way that kids are being told that they can do things without telling their parents, and the parents are being asked not to make a big deal out of the transgender that just cornered them in the bathroom. And Massachusetts is allowing abortion up until the day of birth. This is all by design. They are losing the battle against the depopulation of the American citizens because there's less violence today, supposedly, than there ever has been. So they've lost the violence side. They want us to be violent towards each other and just take each other out. You know, that's why school shootings have been deemed like, that's why they're so common. They're common because they wanted us to go numb to them because it was a way to take out the youth and stop it before it continues. They want more people not having babies. They don't want us to repopulate. Why? Because if we don't repopulate, then they get more control. Why do you think all of these women rights and the capability of being able to work and now making the choice by the time you're 40 to maybe have a kid because now you got to work on a career? Why is the percentage of divorce so high? Well, that's because they want the division of the family. They want the division of our everything. They want us isolated and alone. They want us on all the pharmaceutical drugs, and they want us eating all the garbage out of the center of the supermarket. This is their goal, everybody. This is what they want. Forced compliance and depopulation. For me, this is scary because this is an absolute violation of our constitutional rights. And for them to put it up as a safety issue to make violence not make sense. But that's not all you're doing. And these things aren't right. They make mistakes. Some guy got pulled over like 7 times for the same shit. Everything is designed by a human right now. There is going to be flaws. And these humans that think that they're so much smarter and know so much more and we're better off listening to you is the wrong way to do anything. The people with the money are not the smartest people. They were just the smartest to get all the money. That's all. They figured something out. But I think they're only intelligent in one area. And our safety is not the area that they're fucking skyrocketing in. You know what I mean? So very, very worrisome, I think. I don't like this at all. And they did show a picture of it. It looks like a big white lantern that you would just, see lighting up the street. So it doesn't look like a camera at all. It looks like a street light. So it's here, and they're doing it, and I don't like it. I don't like it. But look at this, because you'll never guess who owns everything. I don't know. Can you guess? This is wild, everybody.
If you don't know who actually owns the news yet, this video is for you. A lot of you probably already know about the big 6 media conglomerate, that all the news is already owned by just these 6 media companies, meaning Comcast, Disney, AT&T, Paramount, Sony, and Fox. But those are all publicly traded companies. And if you look up who owns those companies, you'll see some striking similarities. This is Fox, as I circled at the top there. Top institutional holders, that's Vanguard. 3rd is BlackRock. Looks like 5th is State Street. We'll come back to these guys. I also try to highlight any big banks. You might notice a few other interesting similarities, but that's 6.9% ownership, nice. 4.6, 3.1. That sounds like small percentages, but those are majority ownerships, meaning that they select the board members, who select the CEOs, who select all the hiring. So these ownerships create their ability to basically influence a company from the top down. This is Paramount. First is Berkshire Hathaway, then we have Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, and Morgan Stanley. Huh, nice, a bank. Weird. 9%, 6%, 5%, 2%.
Wow.
Oh, Berkshire Hathaway, though. That's Warren Buffett, right? He's a cool guy.
15% he
yeah.
owns.
Here's Berkshire Hathaway. Not actually owned by Warren Buffett, and if you actually look into it. Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, Morgan Stanley, Bank of New York Mellon, which is actually a subsidiary of Bank of America. Majority stakes.
Wow.
Here's Disney, Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, Morgan Stanley, BNY Mellon. Let's not leave out MSNBC, which is owned by Comcast, Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, JP Morgan, Chase. Same.
Wow.
Majority stakes. But here's where it gets interesting. I saw Doge and Cox Inc. here as one of the majority owners of Fox, and they're on a few of these other sheets too. So I looked into them. Doge and Cox is a media conglomerate company. Cox Media Group is closely associated, founded by these two families, Cox family being one of them. The Cox Media Group, their parent company is Apollo Global Management that owns 71%. That's kind of weird. Who's Apollo Global Management? Apollo Asset Management is an American global private equity firm founded in 1990 by Leon Black. Interesting. Who owns them? This is Apollo Global Management, APO. Vanguard, BlackRock, Morgan Stanley, State Street. That's weird. Everyone seems to be owned by the same people. I wonder who owns Vanguard, BlackRock, Morgan Stanley, and State Street. It seems like they would have an awful lot of sway over what the public is hearing on the news every night. Weird.
Dude, this is the problem, right? This is the problem. They say that we're not supposed to have monopolies. The same people have all the stakes, all the percentages, all the holding. They're holding all the cards. They get to make all of the decisions. We just said that BlackRock is invested in those cameras for our safety. BlackRock, friend of the show, all right? Crazy, man. Absolutely insane. The stranglehold that they have on everything. They're in everything. So therefore, they have manipulated all of the messaging. This is why your news reporter can't say anything. This is why everything anti-Israel or against Jews, like it's not the Jews, people, it's the Zionists. Call it what it is. But BlackRock can't have you saying that. Nope. No, can't have you saying that. BlackRock, Vanguard, JP Morgan, these are the enemies. These are the corporations destroying America and keeping us divided. They're in everything. And they're helping set up all of the security cameras for our safety to make violence not make sense anymore. And these are also the people that believe in forced compliance and that they have all the right ideas in store for all of us. If that is not scary, I don't know what is, because I'm afraid of all of it, of everything I just said. I'm afraid of it. And I must go pray more now. Like, you seriously, it's wild what is happening here. Now, if you think that Pfizer's done, man, it's about to get darker. It's about to get darker.
FDA approved the first electronic pill, if I can call it like that. So it is basically biological chip that it is in the tablet, and once you take the tablet and dissolves into your stomach, sends a signal that you took the tablet. So imagine the applications of that, compliance. The insurance companies to know that the medicines that patients should take, they do take them. It is fascinating what happens in this field.
Dr. Borla grew up in Thessaloniki, Greece, raised by Sephardic Jewish family with deep roots in the city. His parents were among a few of the members in Thessaloniki's prominent Jewish community. To survive the Holocaust, his family's history and narrow escape from the Nazi occupation profoundly influenced his upbringing and subsequent career. He relocated to the United States in his 30s to continue his corporate trajectory with Pfizer. I find that to be very interesting fact about him. Well, all I can say about this, everybody, is that I'm very happy that I take no medications. None. I'm telling you right now, the key to a better life is to get rid of alcohol. It is allowing the demons in, and it is allowing you to be controlled, and it is giving them what they want, which is compliance from all of you. I believe that alcohol causes most of the symptoms that people think that they need the medications for. I really do. I think it's the root of all evil. I think it's the root of all evil, everybody. I don't think there's one worse. I really don't. Maybe wishing yourself a happy birthday at this point could be a little bit worse, but I just don't think so because alcohol ruins so much for so many. But I also think it does what it needs to the body to allow us to think that we need pills and everything else that they say that we need. I am and was a bigger proponent for therapy. I disagree with a lot of it now because I just don't believe it's being utilized for what I thought it was being utilized for. It just turned into another avenue to steal money from people in a sense. But this is so much darker. So I just believe that all pills are evil. And if Pfizer is going to start putting microchips in pills that you're going to consume, and then it's going to be like, hey, he took the pill, I'm out. That's terrible. And I'm so glad I take absolutely no pills, no medications right now. I am so happy for it. Have you been to the bottom of the Epstein files yet? Have you seen the bottom of the rabbit hole that the Epstein files are in? Look, man, we may have gotten to it, and boy, oh boy, is it dark.
Did we finally just find the bottom of the Epstein rabbit hole? Literally?
Congratulations, you've made it to the bottom of the Epstein rabbit hole. Pay close attention. Jeffrey Epstein was on the board of directors for an organization called the Lifeboat Foundation. The Lifeboat Foundation builds giant underground cities, okay? They openly advertise it, and for a fee and with an application letter, they might accept you to join their little society. Also advertise would take the clients off-world in the event of a catastrophe. It's all really weird, right? It gets even more interesting. You see, Donald Barr was the one who inducted Jeffrey Epstein with zero experience into the Dalton Institute, where he was a teacher. Donald Barr wrote a really interesting book called Relations in Space about an aristocratic elite trafficking children into space. Are you following me here? What's even weirder is the district attorney that was supposed to prosecute Jeffrey Epstein and bring him to justice was literally William Barr, Donald Barr's son. Now, the Lifeboat Foundation is really interesting because in 1996, they pioneered wireless money transfers. They're the second organization in the world to ever do this. This is a decade or two before Bitcoin even was a concept, right?
Interesting.
So you got an organization that is doing wireless money transfers that are untraceable, large sums of money, and they're building giant underground infrastructures.
The underground base and city infrastructure and transportation system that's been built. And
I'm sorry?
yes. So we have built an extraordinary number of underground bases and supposedly transportation systems. Some of these are documented as part of the national security infrastructure. I think there are many more.
In the United States?
In the United States, and all over the world. From 2021 to 2023, I took one of the smartest subscribers in the Slayer Report network, and he and I spent 2 years collecting all the data and all the allegations on underground bases. We systematically went through and tried to estimate our guess, this is totally a guess, of how many underground bases, both underground in the United States, but also underground under the ocean around the United States. And our estimate was 170 with the transportation network connecting them.
And what would be the purpose?
If you thought you were going to get a near extinction event.
So I wonder if that's what this scripture means in the last days.
So let's see here. Revelation 6:15. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. 16. And said to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that seeth of the throne, and form the wrath of the Lamb. 17. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Holy shit, everybody. What? They believe the Bible as well. See, this is what I'm trying to look, this is what I see. This is what I see. The Bible stories are reality. They are truth. These people believe it so much that they built underground cities and transportation systems in and around the United States, probably around the world, to run away from him when he comes. Because they think they're going to be able to hide from him. You can't hide from God. You can't hide from Jesus. If the wrath is coming, it's coming. But I just don't know if it's coming or if it already came. You know? But what I can honestly believe is that no matter where you hide yourself, if it's coming, none of us can hide from him. But I will tell you this much. The only people not hiding are the ones that truthfully believe. So I don't have to hide, but I find it funny that you guys do. That's something, huh? And I'm sorry, I really hope there's some massive something or other that happens and that you were incapable of even running away from that because supposedly some solar flares or something like that could be so intense that it literally heats up everything to the core of the planet. And then, therefore, all of their underground shit is actually no protection at all and turns out to basically become a big oven for all of them. So, I mean, I believe God and Jesus, if they do come back, there's no hiding from them. There's no hiding from it. You're going to have to face it no matter where you are or where you're hiding. And I'm just glad I'm not one of those people that has to hide anymore. So, hey, what a wacky time to be alive. But this is the bottom of the Epstein files. This is what they are doing. This is what they're preparing for. This is it. Crazy, dude. And look, the 2026 Epstein files revealed some really, really dark shit. So if you have a weak stomach, don't watch this video. And if you're just listening, then you're safe. But this is very twisted. And this was not released in America, by the way. This is released in France. And that's why I'm playing it, because everybody is starting to collectively be like, all of these people have control over not only America, but over the world, right? How much other shit is BlackRock, Vanguard, JP Morgan all involved in that has nothing to do with America? What else do they have? Follow the money, everybody. We have to follow the money with every single company that we deal with, and we have to follow the money with every single politician we deal with today. Because if you follow the money, you really do find a lot of the truth out there. But when people in other countries are fed up with the shit that's going on and they're releasing stuff, yeah, I play it. I talk about it like it's real because this seems as terrible and as awful as this is. I think it's 100% real. I really do. So here we go. This is fucking morbid. Okay, so what we're looking at, I'll describe it as 3 different shots here. One with Epstein in it, a woman's face, or probably a little girl's face blocked out. We see another man over here. I'm not sure. I can't make him out, but he is carving something that's tied up on a table. And then the bottom picture, if you glance at it, looks like chickens tied up. But if you really focus on it, those are dead humans in the position that a turkey would take. In the fetal position, as if you are basting and cooking a turkey. Okay. We're not going to play the music. You can. I'm playing the video here. You can't listen to the music. Sorry about that. I think this one's actually licensed. But they're flipping. Look at. The top picture is showing you right there. It looks just like they pulled the turkey out. Look at it. There's 2 children. They were eating human meat, everybody. They were eating human meat. This is not a movie. This is not fake. This is not made up. These people were so dark that they were feeding people to children. They were eating human sacrifices. They believe that these things needed to be done to keep Satan in place and to repel God. That's what this is all about. I mean, if allegedly, if Ellen has Kuru, then she is guilty of eating human brains and human meat. It's the only way to get Kuru, everybody. So I'm really hoping that allegedly it's not true. Not because I want Ellen to be a good person that she portrayed herself as, but that just proves all of this to be true. I don't want this to be true. I want this to be a made-up story. But man, the evidence is so stacking. You're just like, ugh. So everything leads back to them having full control over us, keeping Satan in charge because it keeps them where they are, and repel and teach everybody to hate and forget about God. Because as soon as that happens, that's why Christianity is being taken out quietly. It's because they need to keep Satan right where he is. It's mind-blowing, and it sounds like I shouldn't be saying any of this. Like I'm just making something crazy up. You know what I mean? But these are the facts. These are in the files. This is the stuff that France is releasing because our own government, well, obviously Trump is involved in all of it, but won't do a thing about it. We're not prosecuting any of the people that actually deserve it today. No, we're going to follow somebody with these Axon flock cameras that bought some weed out of state and then brought it home. And then we're going to send police officers into that person's house for buying legal weed in one state and bringing it home to smoke in the comfort of your own home. But yet we're not going to find any of these people, these PDF files, that's exactly what I said, PDF files. We're not going to get justice for what they've done. They're not going to serve their time. They're not going to get arrested. They're not going to be knocked off their pedestals. No, because it's BlackRock, Vanguard, JP Morgan, the President of the United States. Every mayor, governor, and anybody in power that dealt with Epstein is guilty. But nothing's going to happen to them. We're just going to chase down people with dents in their cars. We're going to falsely accuse somebody of stealing a vehicle. We're going to make sure that the person bringing home weed to smoke in the comfort of their own home, make sure they know not to cross the border with that anymore. Or we're going to make sure that you can't jaywalk. Or we're going to find out if you're talking bad about this person or that person, or if you may have, look, we've all said we wanted to kill somebody at one point at one time or another, maybe in the comfort of the home, maybe in the comfort of your car. We've all said stupid shit that means absolutely nothing out of anger or frustration. They're going to use that against us. But this is what they're focused on instead of the real shit that we need to be focusing on, which is bringing down the Epstein elites and literally washing our government of anybody who had any association with Epstein or has any association with Israel or AIPAC money. That's what needs to be done. But we're never going to do that. Instead, President Trump is going to do this.
A dramatic new footage shows Donald Trump being secretly moved between aircraft during his trip from Turkey to Britain in an extraordinary security operation triggered by an Iranian assassination threat. According to the Washington Post, Trump had just attended the NATO summit in Ankara. The White House publicly said he would fly to Britain aboard an older Air Force One, but that aircraft was reportedly being used as a decoy. Moments after Trump boarded the aircraft in front of cameras, the president reportedly left the plane in secret. The alleged getaway vehicle? An airport catering truck. According to the report, Trump was transported across the airport and transferred to a smaller Air Force C-32A. The extraordinary deception was reportedly triggered by what U.S. officials described as a credible threat against Trump from Iran. The operation was so closely guarded that even some White House staff and members of the traveling press pool reportedly believed Trump remained aboard the older Air Force One. Reporters traveling on the aircraft were reportedly instructed to keep their window shades closed during the flight. Later, when Trump was asked why the shades had to remain shut, he gave an ominous answer. He said they were probably on a dangerous flight. Then Trump added, "But if I go, you go, right?" While reporters believed they were traveling with the president aboard Air Force One, Trump was reportedly flying separately on the C-32A. The smaller aircraft arrived in Britain at around 10:20 p.m., according to the report. The older Air Force One and the media arrived just minutes later.
And that's where I'm going to stop that because, like, listen, look. look. He literally just left everybody on that plane to die. And, okay, so let's kind of, I've talked to a few people about this now, and everybody tells me, the majority is that there would have never been any movement unless Secret Service made the move. Like, the president doesn't make the move by himself. But I've also heard that the information that was given was Israel's information. And America's intelligence, it was Israel's intelligence saying it's real, you're going to be attacked. They were in Turkey, and U.S. intelligence said, nah. But for some reason, Israeli intelligence was what they went by, and I thought it was just President Trump like slipping out the back. Somebody else said, well, he wouldn't have been pulled out of the plane without Secret Service. But if you listen to that video, everybody still thought he was on the plane. So this was done in complete secret. Nobody saw him get off this plane. So, did he go through, do his little press thing, go sit in the office, and then secretively through the back door, did Secret Service then come in and say, well, Israel says this is going on and U.S. says it's not, but we're just going to take full precaution here and just get you the fuck out of here. I think that could be a possibility. But also, to leave everybody behind if something was going to happen is wild. So I don't know, man. To be used as a decoy and to have your boss be like, sorry if you die. Like, what? Sorry if you die? Sorry if you die. But then this happens. Caroline Leavitt announced her resignation 24 hours after she found out that Trump left her for dead on the plane he thought could be shot out of the sky by a ground missile, mind you. So she literally was like, I'm done. I quit. Because you just left me for dead. You left all of us for dead. Everybody still thought he was on the plane. Now, is that the protocol for an attempt on the president's life? How many people were in that plane? Because that's how many lives were just throwaway to, I guess, Secret Service and the President of the United States. Like, I think personally there should have been some organization. Sure, take care of the President of the United States first, but don't you think all of those people should have been secretively taken all out of that plane? And I don't know. Maybe there should have been a reason to keep the plane grounded is what I'm saying. But to go back on Turkey, because I did mention Turkey, right? They're pissed off now. Because they're like, how dare you think that we would allow this to happen? How dare you think we couldn't protect you on our own soil? So now we're pissing off a NATO country. Do you see the bigger picture here, everybody? Our defenses are way down. Everything is crumbling around us. And we are very vulnerable as a country today. So, what would stop? They talked about it, I believe it was on Fox News, and the guy's like, well, if you declared a state of emergency, no midterms, no election. Isn't that exactly what Netanyahu is doing to Israel? Isn't that exactly what, well, not Putin, but who's the guy that runs Ukraine? I can't remember his name. Zelensky? Isn't that what he's doing too? So all of these people get into wars, and then because of the wars, you can't have any elections. Now, I have people that believe that there is going to be an election. There is going to be a change of presidents. Now, of course, I want that to happen. That's how this is supposed to work. But I also get worried because I start to see how things are being done, and it seems like everything is in the motion to allow him not to. Now, why would you also say that on Fox News? And he literally lined it up exactly how Trump could do it. And it was like, are you directing him and giving him instructions on how to make this happen? Because he was supposed to be, 82 when he gets out of office? Or 84 when he gets out of office? I think we should just allow him to get out of office. But I think when somebody's that old, like, they should be, if you're going to declare a state of emergency, you would have to go in and have like brain scans and shit at that point. You may not be all there. What I'm saying is you're in your 80s. You're fucking old, dude. And this all worries me. But it's not out of the realm of possibilities either. Obviously, they're taking a lot of notation from Israel right now, which is very scary, which is why we need to separate from them. All right, well, it's Bill Gates here, friend of the show, obviously. This is the real Alex Jones. Alex Jones. Okay. Yeah. He's not. Okay, sorry. So, yeah, he is AlexJonesLive.com now. Okay, so Bill Gates is taking over America's farmland. We've talked about the water reserve. I hope nobody invested in that. It was a fail. I haven't checked it, to be fair. I don't think it's doing very good. Anyways, that coin, I invested in it. I lost like $40. I got all the way up to 170. I should have fucking sold, and I didn't. So as for the investing in the water and the crypto, I'm just done. It's gambling, everybody, and I'm done gambling. Gambling is terrible for us. Polymarket is terrible for you. Please stop giving your money to a losing market. Please stop doing that. But let's check this out.
Bill Gates just handed us the next chapter of the globalist eugenicist perfect storm playbook on a silver platter.
Water shortages could be the biggest mass mortality event the world has ever seen. I am talking billions of people dying.
What the?
The only way we ensure people remain safe is by being invested in the United States Water Reserve.
Pair that with his well-documented purchases of farmland and water rights across the American West.
You're reporting Bill Gates started buying land in 2013 through a web of limited liability shell companies across the country. Tell us what he's got.
I mean, there is a lot of land, and it's over about 18 different states, right? So we're talking about 70,000 acres in North Louisiana, around the Delta region, 14,000 acres in Florida, over 40,000 acres in Arkansas, over 14,000 acres in Washington. So it really just spans the country, and it is a lot of land. Local farmers I spoke to in South Georgia and North Florida said that he's doing the same thing that Big Ag did before he got there, which is using a lot of fertilizer that leaches into the rivers, causes big algae blooms, and actually is very ruinous for the habitats of manatees and fish.
Plus the exploding thirst of AI data centers that are draining aquifers dry, and the pattern snaps into focus. Manufacture the crisis, control the supply, and thin the herd under the banner of saving the planet.
The animals that can eat grass have very unusual stomachs that have these bacteria that are methanogenic in there. And so they leak natural gas, both out the front and the back.
Oh, no, and so do we.
And so people have said, well, let's change the hay or throw some things in there. And it's been, nobody knows how to get rid of
No one knows how to get cows to stop farting.
Exactly.
By the way, methane's
This
great for the
is
atmosphere.
the same oligarch who spent years pushing experimental injection.
Dude, that makes me so angry. It makes me so angry, everybody. I hate this argument. It's so stupid. And Alex is right. Farts are good. Farts are very good. This is just one of the dumbest arguments I've ever heard in my life. Let's listen a little bit further.
If anything kills over 10 million people in the next few decades, it's most likely to be a highly infectious virus.
How ready
was the world for this, say on a scale of 1 to 10, and how about the U.S.?
The U.S. gets a low score.
Now positioning himself as the gatekeeper of the one resource no human can live without for more than a few days.
My name is Doug Seavey. I build data centers. I own data centers. I built the first private data center in the state of Iowa, and everything that Google is telling you is BS.
Hi, I'm Ben Townsend. I lead infrastructure strategy and sustainability here at Google. Google's helping foster a new era of technological progress, and we are committed to doing so responsibly. You probably already know that data centers need energy to operate, but you might be surprised to learn that they generate heat and often rely on water for cooling. At Google, we understood early on that as the use of digital services grew, so too would the need for water to cool data centers. That's why we set out to find a responsible, sustainable way to manage this vital resource.
I have a data center right now that's running in Hiawatha, and I have been there 14 years and have never used 1 gallon of water. What Google isn't telling you is they don't want to use the technology because it costs more. They're going to burn through the water, and when it's done, and they don't care. Then they'll put the money in. When I called you and talked to you, and I said, you should really let me help you, I never heard anything back. And I warned you. I said, my well goes dry. I'm coming after you because I know what's going on. And you can't do this. You guys have to say no water. They don't have to have it.
UN reports.
And there we go. That's where I'm going to stop the video today. But, dude, this is wild. They don't need the water. They're causing the problem. They're making the demand to steal more money from us, to steal a natural resource that we all need to live, which therefore allows depopulation to happen because people will not survive more than a couple days without water. And this is really what's going on. This is what he's doing. He's been doing it for a long, long time, everybody. And it's really disturbing and disgusting. And when I don't understand, I just don't understand how we keep allowing these oligarchs to do what they do just because they have all the money. I mean, it's just insanity to me, and I don't know how to fix any of this. But what I do know is this is my warning to all of you, you know? This is what's happening today, and this is what these people are trying to do, and it's very, very disturbing. All right, so we're gonna kind of dive back into the flock cameras for a moment because I did mention that they were using them to watch somebody who went to a dispensary and then went to their house and then took away their marijuana for purchasing it out of state. Now, the reason I'm bringing it back is because this is what they are doing instead of looking into the estimated 460 to 600,000 children that go missing in the United States every year. Okay. We're not going to use these cameras for something that actually could benefit because that's not what they're here for. They're not here to benefit us. They're here to control us, to put a thumb, right? We're going to be underneath the thumb of the oligarchs and the rich because they don't care. They already know where the children are going. They already know where the children are going. They don't need cameras for that. They're all being delivered to their front doors. Like I said earlier, the Epstein elites need to be dealt with. Even friends of the show like Bill Gates. Now, let's check out what's going on with these new toll booths because it's more surveillance, everybody. It's more surveillance. Oh, my God. We are winding up in a surveillance world, everybody. We really, really are.
This is 100% legit.
I've never heard this
I
before.
had a guy get pulled over coming from New Hampshire to Maine, and it's like There's certain toll booths. It's one of the newer ones. He rolls through it, and it was like half a mile later. He gets pulled over. Cop pulls in, and he goes, "Where's the money?" And he goes, "You have whatever it was. It was like $100 bills at least in this car." And the guy goes, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, you rolled through the toll." And he's like, "Okay." And then luckily on the side, he was an electrician and just pulled all of his money out of a New Hampshire bank. And he was like, "Here's my bank statement. I just withdrew all this I'm moving to Maine." It happened to be one of those things where it was shit luck, because there was definitely weed money in there for sure. And now he notifies me, and I'm like, check. Okay. Can't go through tolls, right? You can't go through certain parts of the state, because like getting through New Hampshire was always living hell. Like, it's just that pinch point. There's a bridge between Maine and New Hampshire, and at that part, right? When you get down past Massachusetts, there's so many people. It just doesn't matter. There's just a mass amount of human beings where you just blend in if you blend in, right? Just
So how many drivers you got working for you?
I tried to keep it to like one.
Okay.
One, like 2 guys, but like 1 car.
Okay.
Right. So like we would buy an old cop car, like an old Ford SUV. And it's like undercover. Still has old, like better, like old light bars and shit. Best. Right.
That's smuggling money and shit. They're running drugs.
Yeah. It looks like an undercover cop.
That's actually a really smart idea.
So I don't have any context of this actual conversation, but it sounds like this guy moves marijuana from state to state. Maybe he has a couple dispensaries, one in Massachusetts and one in Maine. And this is how they have to transport their product from dispensary to dispensary. You still have to treat it like an illegal substance. And so they use, I guess, old, unmarked cop cars to be able to get supposedly legal product from one legal state through an illegal state into another legal state, is what I'm gathering from just this clip. Now, that all being said, what the hell's going on with the toll booths? What did they see inside of that car? So they saw his, registration? They pulled up all his information, and they also saw that he had a large sum of money that was taken out of a bank. And so they decided to pull him over. That's wild. That they could pull you over under suspicion of having money on you because they think that it's drug money. And luckily this guy was a electrician and said, "Hey, this is all my money I've made from being an electrician, and I'm moving from New Hampshire to Maine." So he had an excuse. But at the end of the day, man, this is invasion of our privacy. Just because you take money out of a bank and you're traveling from state to state does not make you a criminal per se, but they're making it seem like you're being a criminal because their cameras told them you are. That's insane. And that is a surveillance state, everybody. This is wild information, man. Just mind-blowing how they are implementing this into our lives, and there's no stopping it. There's absolutely no stopping it. Okay, so this here, man, I think the Muslim community could be very dark. This is all news on what is going on with the Muslim community, and I'm going to let the news speak for itself.
A 219-page report was released yesterday in the United Kingdom by a member of Parliament, laying out in detail the evil, just the pure evil of predominantly Muslim men from Pakistan, grooming, trafficking, torturing, and raping at least 250,000 white women in the United Kingdom over the course of several years.
Huge bombshell news today. The rape gang inquiry report has just been published in full. It lays bare the astonishing scale of the rape, abuse and torture of potentially hundreds of thousands of young white girls at the evil hands of predominantly Pakistani Muslim men and men from other Muslim countries.
And nobody here is talking about it. That report was from this morning in what could be the biggest scandal involving sexual abuse and rape in history. Muslim men raping young white British women for decades, facilitated, ignored, and covered up by politicians, by police, by caregivers, even the prime minister who was in France tonight. For one reason, these people do not want to be perceived as racist, which is utterly insane. And because of that, this was able to go on, fester and thrive for decades while polite society in Britain looked the other way. According to the report, 87% of the perpetrators were Muslims from Pakistan. 87%.
Wow.
But the left still want you to think that diversity is our strength. It is not.
So this is the problem I have with the whole inclusivity and not diversity and all of it, is that it's all for the wrong reasons, everybody. We need to open our eyes and realize that there is a point where inclusivity goes too far. And this is one where I believe it has gone too far. When you have 87% of Muslim Pakistani men being convicted for raping, who are, am I allowed to say that word? I don't know. For doing what they did to these women, and nothing is happening because otherwise you are looked at as a racist person for discriminating against these Muslims, is how they're labeling it and how they're getting away with it. So these politicians, these people in charge, back down because they don't want to be seen as a racist. This is where diversity has gone too far, and inclusivity does not work. So I don't think that it doesn't work 100%. But when we get to this point, just like what we're dealing with here in America, where no matter what we talk about, we're just bashing Jews and we're being anti-Semites. It's a label. It's a blanket label that they get to throw on top of us to disengage the argument. And I'm not disengaging from the argument anymore. You can't call me an anti-Semite because I'm against Zionists or the linkage between USA and Israel. That is not anti-Semitism. I'm an American and I want America first. Well, guess what? Lana, stop. Oh, she keeps moving my camera, everybody. It's funny, dog. But what I'm saying is that this is not racist. If they were to, they're convicting these Muslims. They're convicting these men for doing heinous crimes against women. They should not be looked at as racist people because it happens to be one particular race that's doing 80% of the crimes. That's just the facts, everybody. That's the facts. And everybody should be at the same level of law, man. Like, I don't know what other words to use at this very moment in time. But what I'm saying is that they all need to be prosecuted. It doesn't matter what race you are. The people in charge should be doing the right thing for the people and stopping the people that are doing heinous crimes from doing heinous crimes. It's not racist. It's just the right thing to do. I thought this was really neat. Did anybody see this? This is really fucking cool, man. The images are from Spain. A professional mountaineer managed to capture a strange beam of light phenomenon after a solar eclipse. Is this the ancient dimensional portal? or a simulation glitch. Very cool. Check this out, man. I guess this was after the eclipse that recently happened. And I do believe Spain got to see the eclipse. But check this out. What is that? Everybody, what is it? He's up on top of a mountain, pointing the camera at the sun. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? It looks like bubbles. It looks like bubbles, a glitch. Definitely something. The wind is very annoying, as always. But what is that? I don't think it's a portal. What I think it is I think it's the firmament. I think the firmament was affected by the eclipse, and now you can physically see it. Because that's what we're under. We're under the firmament. This earth is most definitely flat, everybody. You can call me crazy. I don't care. But I see the moon and the sun out at the exact same time. I see how it's depicted in the old maps, in the old calendars, the old stuff, 1700s. That's reality, everybody. That's where it is. That's what they want us to forget. And this eclipse basically showed you that the firmament is real. And if you have children, I think you really need to listen and or watch this video, because this is destroying the youth, everybody. It's destroying the youth.
This is 5-year-old Rose. She was one of 60 kids to undergo an exhaustive study in the US, using an MRI machine to scan the brains of kids aged 3 to 5 years old. The results, truly shocking. Interactive screen time causes a loss of white matter in the brain.
Well, in the simplest terms, we could actually refer to it as some measure of brain impairment or brain damage.
Professor Mike Nagel from the University of the Sunshine Coast has spent a career studying child brain development.
So white matter in the brain is a material called myelin. So what myelin does is it wraps around the axons of neurons and acts like an insulator, a conductor, not too dissimilar to the plastic coating of a wire. So if we're seeing deficits in myelin production early in life, we're probably seeing deficits in neural connectivity.
The study shows the more screen time a child is exposed to, the greater the loss of white matter.
Wow.
Can you remember your first reaction to those results, not only as a professional in this field, but as a father?
My gut reaction was, wow. I was not anticipating seeing anything like that. It hadn't occurred to me at the time that something as little as, and it said 2 hours a day, was having such a profound effect on the white matter associated with sort of language development. And by association, literacy, it was a shock, to be honest.
This is where I stand on all of this. Do you remember being able to remember phone numbers? Do you remember remembering people's birth dates? I do. I knew all of my friends' phone numbers. I knew my house number. I knew and remembered everybody's birthday. Now, I can't remember shit. I forgot my uncle's birthday, everybody. That's right. Why? Because it wasn't in my Google Calendar. And to be transparent, I feel really bad because I still haven't called and wished my uncle a happy birthday. But I felt like it was too late. And I felt stupid for not being able to remember. But now I'm understanding why I don't remember. The phones have done this to us. I've always said it's the phone's fault I don't remember anymore. I'm not lying. I didn't make that up. That's real. And now our youth is dwindling in its memory. Its memory is dwindled to the point where they can't retain anything because the amount of hours, 2 hours on the phone reduces that insulator. So think about all the youth out there that are spending hours, days on these devices, just ruining their capability of retaining and remembering almost anything. And you want, and people wonder why the youth is falling apart, why the youth is where it is today, why they're all on medications, they're all full of anxiety, and they are all just having the hardest time communicating with each other. The phones have and are destroying our societies, everybody. And I don't know. I think less is more. We need to get away from the social media and all this other shit. But at the end of the day, please like and subscribe. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Well, how do we get away from it? I don't think we can. But did you think that toilet paper could be poisonous? I did not until I saw this. And this is another friend of the show right here, one of my favorites, Hustle Bitch. I mean, I like this guy a lot. He has a lot of good things to say. He obviously exposed BlackRock in the beginning of this episode, and we're going to continue listening to him because now he's letting us know that toilet paper could be poisoning us all and or causing cancer. Listen to this.
Toilet paper causes cancer. That's what this man claims after holding it under a UV light and seeing something terrifying.
Now, I think we should all have a UV light and do this ourselves. I just can't find mine at the moment.
Toilet paper? Why does it have... Look at that, it's glowing. I don't know if you can see that. I don't think the camera's picking it up. But like literally there's these blue, like, looks radioactive from the top. Because I heard like the women's tampons had like chemicals in them, and then there was a big lawsuit. So I was playing with my UV light and look at, there's like, it's blue. Like, why would it light up blue? Like, here's the sink, right? This is a regular UV light, and then
Wow, dude, this is weird.
Like, that's crazy. Here's my hand. So here I tore off a strand.
Yep. What happens when you get it wet?
Whoa, look at that. That looks crazy. That's like in there.
Oh, is it on his hand now? No. It's on his hands. It's in his skin. It's being absorbed. Oh my God. He's got specks of it on his thumb, everybody.
So yeah, I mean, it does come off.
Yeah.
People in his comment section were absolutely horrified. They immediately started asking him to test other brands of toilet paper, and the results shocked a lot of viewers. Some people are even saying they might have to start stealing public toilet paper.
Why? What's going on with public toilet paper? What?
Glue spots or glue. So the single plies are safer. Everything else looks gross. Splatter.
Whoa, dude.
And here's where it gets even crazier. Even tampons have this weird substance that glows under UV light.
Look at that tampon glowing. Doesn't look like there's anything on the pad because they're showing a pad next to a tampon. Whoa, dude. What is in that tampon? Wow, this is terrible and disturbing, everybody. So what is this chemical? Some bonding agent? I don't know. Is single ply safer than your 2-ply? It's a possibility. Why is it not in public toilet paper, but it's in toilet paper at our house? Why is it in tampons? And let's get to the bottom of what it is. Because could it be poisoning us? I've heard of many people being very sick from tampons. I've never really heard of anybody being sick from toilet paper, but have we ever looked at toilet paper as being the reason why we would be sick? I don't think any of us have. But maybe that's a question we need to be asking today. Is the toilet paper causing us to become sick? And is it possible to be causing cancer in us today? I don't think that the answer is no. And I do believe that the answer could be closer to yes. But I really want to know, what is this compound that is lighting up under UV light, right? What is that compound? And what is it doing to us today? Now, this right here is absolutely wild, everybody. Check this out, because this guy claims to be 350 years of age. Dude. I just, vampire? I don't know. Let's check it out.
What if vampires actually exist? And if they do, what would they look like today? One of the strangest vampire cases dates back to 1997, when a very unusual man was invited onto a TV talk show. He looked exactly like a real vampire, but the audience assumed it was nothing more than makeup and part of the act. Then he suddenly claimed that he was already 350 years old, and that's when things became even stranger.
And that was in 1997. But this is wild, because vampires are spoken of in the Bible.
Because he also said that his kind isn't afraid of sunlight, unlike the vampires you've seen in movies. His name was Don Henry, and he claimed that his fangs were completely real. And of course, he also said that he drinks a red liquid, not human blood, only animal blood. But here's where it gets even stranger. During the show, he even took a lie detector test, and according to the show's lie detector test, the results suggested he was telling the truth. But that wasn't the end of it. After that interview, Don Henry disappeared from the public eye, and most people assumed the whole thing had simply been staged for television. But now, almost 30 years later, people have found Don Henry again on social media. And what many noticed made the story even more unsettling, because he doesn't just look like he hasn't aged. He actually looks younger than he did almost 30 years ago. And recently, more and more people on TikTok have been claiming to be real vampires, like Nick and his family, whom I talked about in another video, or the girl who claims she's over 104 years old, and many others. So what do you think? Do vampires really exist, or do they belong only in movies?
Could they really exist? Well, it seems like the possibilities of it are endless. And it seems like there's a lot of people out there saying that they are. So, I mean, to find this guy, 97, that is 30 years ago, pretty close to it. And he looks younger than he did when he was on that show. He's out there. I guess he's on TikTok, which I don't recommend downloading that app or using it. It's all Israel-based. Get rid of it. Same with Waze. But Bible says vampires existed. They got rid of the poor. They were basically bottom feeders that were feeding off of the forgotten. I do believe is some of the words used in the Bible. The Bible's full of truth, everybody. So if the Bible speaks of it, I believe it's true. And do I believe that this person, Don Henry, is, 380 years of age now? Is there a bunch of people out there that are over 100 years old claiming to be vampires as well? It seems like that answer is yes. And with the answer being yes, and the Bible saying that they existed, my thought process is that this is closer to the truth than the fictitious vampires we've all read and watched movies on. And the sun, I think Twilight probably got it the closest by the sparkling thing, because it seems like the sun does not do what we all were told it does to vampires, which would make sense, right? Because the movies program us and they force feed us lies that we are supposed to believe. So therefore, why wouldn't they falsify what actual vampires, or I don't even, like, it's so weird to even say this, everybody. It's weird. It feels weird to talk this way about something that was a story or a movie or something that was supposed to be fake. I was told it's fake, right? But what if it's real? I already said the Bible is full of truth. So I have to stick to my word. And now I believe that vampires could be real. And maybe Don Henry is one of the oldest ones. And if this is true, I'd like to have him on the show. Well, how about you, Don Henry? Become a friend of the show. And maybe we can get him on there. Maybe I'll do some more research on Don Henry. But as of today, everybody, I just hope, I hope you enjoyed. Wild times to be alive, everybody. Who knows what's real, who's fake? But the Bible is truth. That's where it all is. You want truth today? Don't look at big media. Don't be taking the big pharmaceutical pills, because that's keeping you right where they want you, in their control. We need to break free from all of this and understand that God and Jesus and Christianity is the only thing to keep Satan away. So I'm going to leave you with that. Vampires are real. And I just hope everybody out there enjoyed the show today. Again, I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. You are the reason I keep coming back week after week. If you're new, subscribe, okay? It's right there. Click it, smash it. I greatly appreciate it. You want an opportunity to tell your story or be a guest? TALKIN with Topher at gmail.com. It's the official email of the podcast, so send an audio, video, or type it out. Linktree link is in the description below the video. It's the easiest way to find everything TWT. And then don't forget about all the links discussed on this podcast today so that you can do your own research. And with that all being said, everybody, I hope that you have an enjoyable rest of your Thursday. I hope you have an amazing weekend. And as always, I will talk to you next week.